A system and process for code because that has to function for others to support.
So company, we need to think what the process, it depends upon the company's success.
So the process that we are discussing about setting this process and system.
Process is very, very important to achieve the goal. I think system and process is something which it sets all your team on one page.
So what we all do is we set the process and we feel that the process is going on. But most important, what we forget is we don't monitor.
The process, each and every employee in the organization must know what the process is.
System and process in the வார்த்தைக்கு அர்த்தம் எனக்கு தெரியும் போது already I started office in Trichy.
I know the process in which I do my work.
Communication, consistent and commitment. So all the process or systems should be based on this 3C.
What is process? Process is related activities to the system.
A system is something which you create to make your life easy, and the process are the activities which you do. So we are not setting the process for the person, but we are setting for that role.
Understand your goals, your mission, and then set up your system and process aligned with what you want to achieve.
I meet a lot of business owners, and what I find is everybody wants to grow the business. And what hurts is they really want to grow. Action irukku, intention irukku. They want to grow, but something is stopping them. எது ஸ்டாப் பண்ணுது அவங்களுக்கே புரியல. And what I found looking at so many more people is there's one ingredient. Yes, only one. ஒரே ஒரு. And that very important ingredient we are going to discuss today is systems and process. Yes, system and process. உங்க businessல system and process வந்ததுன்னா உங்க business கட்டாயமா மேல போகும். ஆனா we need to understand that how to implement system and why to have systems and process. So we are going to discuss with people to understand how and why of systems and process. To discuss this today, we have 10 entrepreneurs and with a collective business experience of 200 years and turnover of 100 plus crores per year. This is Growgraphy, the digital growth platform for entrepreneurs and working professionals. I'm Sunil Setia, advisor, and I welcome you to Business Room by Growgraphy. So I'm going to pick up the name, and whoever name is coming up is going to speak first. And the first name is Satanathan.
So system and process in any business is there are different departments, right? Then it can be your core work and other supporting work like finance, admin, HR and all those things. It can be a small company or a big company, and you have to list down the process or problems that you're going to solve in each department. Look at the main core department, you have to list down which are the operational this thing and which are all the future work that you're going to do in that particular core department. So supporting the primary this thing is the core department, the system and process for core because that has to function for others to support. So your finance and HR and admin all has to come in the secondary, and then they will support the core department. So first you have to put the system and process for your core department.
Let's go with the second. My God, Dhanalakshmi.
So normally process setting வந்து என்னோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸில் நான் பார்த்தது பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஸ்டார்டிங் வந்து ஐ தாட் இட்ஸ் எ இண்டிவிஜுவல் ப்ராசஸ். ஒரு பிஸ்னஸில் ஒவ்வொருத்தரோட இண்டிவிஜுவல் ஸ்ட்ரென்த் அண்ட் வீக்னஸ் வச்சு அவங்களுக்கு ப்ராசஸ் செட் பண்ணி தருவோம். சிம்பிளாக அவங்களுக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி எம்ப்ளாயீஸ்க்கு ஒரு ப்ராசஸ் கொடுப்போம், பிஸ்னஸ் பர்சன்ட்டு. பட் ஃபைனலி ஐ ஃபைண்ட் அவுட் இட்ஸ் அவங்கவுங்களுக்காக பண்ணுற ப்ராசஸில் அவ்வளோ பெரிய சக்ஸஸ் கிடைக்கல. ஸோ வை வி நீட் டு செட் த ப்ராசஸ், இட்ஸ் அபவுட் த கம்பெனி. ஸோ கம்பெனி வி நீட் டு திங்க் வாட் த ப்ராசஸ், இட்ஸ் டிபெண்ட்ஸ் அப்பான் த கம்பெனி சக்ஸஸ். அதை பொறுத்து நம்மளோட ப்ராசஸ் எல்லாமே பிகின் பண்ணோன்னா இட் இஸ் வெரி குட் சக்ஸஸ். ஸோ இண்டிவிஜுவலாக நம்ம மேக் பண்ணுறதை விட அந்த கம்பெனி ப்ராசஸ்க்கு எல்லாருமே அலைன் ஆகணும். தட் இஸ் இஃப் இட் இஸ் பிஸ்னஸ் ஓனர் ஆர் எம்ப்ளாயீஸ், இஃப் இட் இஸ் இன் ஏ சிம்பிள் small servant இருந்தால் கூட இட்ஸ் அபவுட் டு தட் ப்ராசஸ் தே ஹாவ் டு கம். ஸோ ஐ லேர்ன் ஃப்ரம் திஸ் இஸ் ஆஸ் ஏ உமன். நம்ம குக்கிங்கில் கூட ப்ராசஸ் இருக்குது. குக் பண்ணுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி வி ஹாவ் டு பிளான் அண்ட் ப்ராசஸ், தென் இட் வில் கம் வெரி குட் டேஸ்ட். ஸோ இட் ஸ்டார்ட்ஸ் ஃப்ரம் இன் கிச்சன் ஆல்சோ. தேங்க்யூ.
Thank you. Wow, it's Ketan.
Thank you everyone. Over the 15-18 years that I have been working, one biggest impact that I have found was having a process and not having a process makes a huge difference in any organization, whether it is a small time or a large MNCs. And if a small firm needs to become an MNC, it can only become through a process. So the process that we are discussing about setting this process and system, what I feel is it should be very simple. It should be determined based on the work that you have been doing and how fast the work can be done. Keeping it simple and how fast the productivity can be. So that is one impact that I have seen. And two, whenever you are designing the process, it is very important to note that it should be flexible. Whenever there are certain changes needs to be done based on the technology that is coming in, that impact has to be created. So once the process is set, it needs to change through the technology addition that is going over the years. So that helps, that increases the productivity, and it will definitely ensure that a small company or a mid-sized firm can become a MNC over the period of time. Thank you.
Oh my God, that's Sarvesh.
So system and process is very, very important. If you have a goal, you have to have a system and process. If you don't have a system and process, you can't achieve your goal. So whoever not having the goals, they will be not having the system and process. But if you're having the goal, process is very, very important to achieve the goal. So process is something, the action point. Goal is something like vision. The goal is vision, the process is action. So system and process also will give you the discipline of your work, and you can track the goal. Like you can break the goals, like if you're keeping a goal for per annum, that process will help you to make breakups like quarter, halfly, month on month, week on week, day on day. So that is the most important thing to achieve your goals. System and process is very, very important.
Lakshmanan?
So being a fourth generation entrepreneur, the things which the three generation didn't do, and I think which someone should do in this generation, is set up system and process. That's where the growth will be enormous. And so in my business, how I set up processes, when I had the problem of abundance, when I get more referrals, I think I started to look out for setting up process. That's where I can succeed, and I don't miss out on following up on any referrals. So that's where one thing which I learned is, whenever I meet a new person, the first thing which I try to ask them is, what is that app which you're using in your phone, which I don't have? So I start to learn from others. So it's not about like wasting your time. It's about knowing what app do you use in your business, what is the system you set up and process, what is the thing which you do and I don't do in my business. So I try to learn from others. And I think system and process is something which it sets all your team on one page. I think it's very important for everyone in your company to be aligned to the same page. I think that's when everyone doesn't make mistakes and everyone stays accountable. And I think setting up system and process will help everyone to be accountable, and everyone being accountable end of the day is very important. Thank you.
It's coming to Ajit.
So being an entrepreneur, the first thing is what we all think of is we start a business for what? To make profits. But to make a profit, we need to have something called as process. But what we all do is we set the process and we feel that the process is going on. But most important, what we forget is we don't monitor. That means every department should have someone to monitor that. That means the first most important thing is have an organizational chart. Who's going to do, which department is going to monitor what, and have a weekly MIS so that your processes, you know that your process is going in a right track. And as and when you want to improve, you just go back and look into those reports and see where you can improve, so your business takes off from there. And you are also, as an entrepreneur, your business grows, your employees get benefit, and your profit also.
Oh wow. Yes, Mr. Mahesh Kumar.
Thank you. As an entrepreneur, process is very, very important. The process, each and every employee in the organization must know what the process is, and it should be monitored every day in the morning. Before the day starts, they must know what they have to do on a particular day, and then after ending the day, end of the day, they must also see like how they achieved it or not, and then the process has to be every day, and then everyday process, and then the weekly process, and the monthly process has to be monitored, so that, and then it should be informed also. Everybody must know also, like the process only the manager or only the boss must know. Everybody must know that have they done it or not. So that's very, very important. So communication is very, very important. There can be some board or something, some WhatsApp now. So that's WhatsApp era. So we can send the messages. What have you done yesterday? What are we going to do today? And then what is we are lagging off. So that targets and then achievements can be done. Thank you.
Shaktivel Palli.
Thank you. How do I set system and process in the business? Understanding my business,
understanding what are the departments required for my business especially, and training my team, continuous hiring of people, preparing SOPs for each and every part of my business, starting from beginning of the day with sync-up meeting and ending of the day with the reports, and educating my team staff what is my business. This helped me a lot in achieving to achieve a goal, we need success, but to always be successful, we need a process. So that process is given to all my staff, each and every, starting from single person, now my team strength is 15, and everyone knows all the departments, but they have given specific task. So there is a reporting structure, there is some meeting structure in the beginning, and what they have achieved, it is being measured. So that is more important for us, because if something goes wrong, we have to identify if they need any special training. In that way, daily monitoring is, it can be monitored without the entrepreneur there. So that is what I am doing. System and process in the வார்த்தைக்கு அர்த்தம் எனக்கு தெரியும் போது already I started office in Trichy. So that is how I monitor my team. Thank you, sir.
Elizabeth Joseph.
As a first generation business entrepreneur, I know the process in which I do my work. But what is the process I need for the people who are in my organization? That is where I need to focus on, and I need to get things to do. So what has been done by me is being fine-tuned to the people in my organization, so that I get the best output from each one of them, and at the end of the day, each one of us are accountable to what is to be done by the end of the day. That's it.
Premanand.
Thank you. Being a capital machinery marketing or manufacturers, we used to say always that each and every department should have a process. The process will have a different sales and marketing, design and development, planning and execution, purchase and commercials, after sales service, and finance and accounts. Every department should have a process that should be systematically to be followed. That's what we used to implement in our company. But all the all the department has to follow the 3 C's. That is what we used to say. One is communication, consistent, and commitment. So all the process or systems should be based on this 3C, which even in our present conditions we are doing it. Thank you so much.
Public demand, Saras.
So the question is, how to set up the business system and process. So first understand what is the difference between system and process. System is what? What is that you want to achieve? What is that you want to deliver? What is your goal? That is what is called system. So in overall, business is a system. That means you want to deliver this, you want to achieve this. This is what the goal of the business. That is what is called a system. What is process? Process is related activities to the system. For example, in an organization, there are different processes, there are different departments, starting with the HR, sales, procurement, dispatch. These are different activities and different processes related to that department. Take case example in the sales process. In sales process, what happens is that how the leads coming, how do you generate your leads? Different ways of generating these leads. How do you assign those leads to your executives? And after that, what happens? So this step-by-step activities are process. Okay. First you identify that, and then you see how to assign that activity, because this is how you need to implement the process. So then you need to assign that activities to a certain people, 2-3 people to do those activities, to implement that process. Once that is ready, then what you need to do is test the process. That means the process which is there, you need to see how to test that. Because before you go for a live implementation of the process, you need to test it for 30 days, 60 days, test the process. Once the testing is done, then you need to see how to integrate it in a day-to-day life of the people who are involved in it. So then that you integrate. Then what happens next is that you need to re-evaluate. Whenever the goal of the company or goal of the business is changed, you need to re-evaluate, you need to re-engage, you need to re-understand what is that. So these are the couple of steps how you implement your process in the system. Thank you.
Kamalika.
Thank you. So I'm a first generation entrepreneur and my business involves cooking and finalizing of recipes. So the first thing which I did when I wanted to start my business was to set the process in place and finalize on the recipes. So that's a step-by-step process I did. I finalized on the recipes. It took a lot of time, but there were a lot of trials which went into it because I wanted to break a myth of giving a very tasty eggless cake. It was not an easy task, but it had a lot of process. Finalizing on recipes, finding out which will be the good replacer, and then documenting those recipes and keeping it for my reference every time. That's like the base of the company. So that was a process on its own. So once this has come, the system to pick any recipe from that and modify it according to the customer's. Another system which came into place was out of experience. Where when I started my business, I used to run short of ingredients and run to the shop at the last moment. Then I put in a system where every week on Sunday afternoon, this is my work. I will check all the ingredients and figure out what should be bought. So I have a restock order level where if I have 10 cake boards, if I have come down to 10 cake boards, which means by the next week I have to order 25 or 30 and keep it ready. So that's another system which I put in place, which has made my life very easy. So a system is something which you create to make your life easy, and the process are the activities which you do. So this is a system we've created, and the activities are helping us have a seamless work week every week. That's
Anusha.
Thank you. So, for systems and process, when it comes to that, I believe there is a very fixed template in the market. These are the departments, this is how it should run. But the thing is, I feel that we have to customize it to our business, our company, based on not just what we want to deliver, but also the target segment where we are hitting. Like for example, in my business, we target both the residential and commercial sector. So there cannot be one single process for the entire company to operate. It should be according to what segment. So projects for this particular segment, there should be a tweak in the process. That is one. Once we do the process, what we've done over the last 8 months, for various departments, we've set process completely in place for 2 departments. How we did it is, we did a trial. So that trial should first happen from the management. That is, we do it, the 3 of us partners, we first did it, tried and tested. And then we sat with the team and then we found, yes, when we sit with them and implement what is happening. So that we did, and then now we are doing it together. So in the corrections and all we've done, and now we've set it. But then again, we'll have to review it after 6 months. So Adapadi now accounts, procurement, so these departments are set. Then another thing what we've done is document it in terms of paper or on the system. This means that tomorrow anybody else substitutes in that place, we can just simply say, go back and refer to it. So we are not setting the process for the person, but we are setting for that role. So these are some foolproof ways where we've already set for internal accounts and procurement. And most importantly, dynamically, the market is changing a lot to the trends. So we need to review it in a period of 3 years is what we have in mind. So that's how we have set it.
Shivaganesh.
With my experience, I think for any firm or business to setting up a process and system, the first important thing is to have a vision. Understand what the vision of the business is, understand your goals, your mission, and then set up your system and process aligned with what you want to achieve. And it also should have your core values of your business aligned with the system. If your core values and your system or the process that you're setting up does not match, it will not work for a longer period. And very importantly, every single person to the last tier of your employee should know what your vision is, should know what your goals are, and know the why of why the system and process is in place. Without that, you will see a lot of things that doesn't match up. So these are major things that we have to focus on to set up a system of process. And once you set all these things, it is very, you have a lot of tools, a lot of ERP systems or tools to help your vision or set up as a system. So those will help you in MIS reports, like what we discussed, MIS reports or process-wise. There are so many tools in the market that can work on, and it can be aligned for your business, for whatever you need. And you should identify every nook and corner of the business where you want to measure, what you want to measure, and set up a process or a process to measure that thing. So it's up to us. For example, in our business, we started after this GST and everything came up. We implemented one important thing is whenever we have an invoice, incoming invoice of minimum 30 to 40 invoices per day. So what we worked on is anytime we have an invoice or a new vendor coming in, we will check their GST number ourselves before we all create a new vendor to make sure that they have done all their GST compliances properly. If not, because that is going to affect us in our inputs in the future. And our accounting team knows why, because they know if they miss one thing, what is the that the company is going to get affected because of done one single miss that they do. So this is something that we have to teach in each of our employee for every single process that we do. So thank you so much.
Yes. How many of you just brilliant? Lot of learnings. Right? I learned. All of you learned?
Yes.
Brilliant. So let me sum it up. I will just say that I'm going to sum it up. How many of you know this? The place we are living is called Earth, and we're living in a system called solar system. Yes. Yeah, it is called solar system. So there is a system and process for everything. One thing which I read somewhere was even if you don't have a system, that is your system. There's nothing called no system. We all have a system. Starting from when you wake up, there is a system. The way you take bath, that is your system. So every business needs a system, and I'm so happy Shiva brought it here. You need to have first and foremost is core values. What is the core value of you as an individual, of your business? What is the core value of your business? That is the starting point. With that, you need to have vision in mind, right? Core value, vision. Vision is like vision or mission interchangeably. People use it. It is about what is the end result you want to have 50 years and 100 years from now. It is not just 5 years and 10 years. It is like what is the company's mission? What is the company setting out to achieve in the long run? That's the next point. Next is goals. When you break this or you want to achieve this mission, what are the milestones or the goals that you're setting? Maybe 5 years and 10 years. And then you break it down into smaller pieces. This is about the what we want to achieve. Now, when we go out to achieve all these things, we need to have a system in place. Why? Now, recently I was talking to an entrepreneur. I told him, and he has a same question: how to set system in business? I said, whatever you do on a daily basis, take notes. The way you talk to a client, take notes. And see, when we begin, many of us, in fact, when I began my journey, I was only a single person. So nobody had to teach me, nobody had to educate me. I knew everything. I was the office boy, I was the chairman, I was the manager, I was the receptionist, I was doing everything. So it didn't matter that I had to teach anybody. But the problem started when I had to hire the next person and to train him, because I did not know how to train him. Because I knew how to do it, but I did not know how to train the next person. And that's where the confusion starts. Many of us have grown to the level where we have grown is because of individual brilliance. We depend on ourselves and we do it. And we think the employees who come in, seeing us, they will learn it. Do you think people who come in will see us and learn? They may not, and some of them yes, some of them no. Now that is where the whole challenge comes of the system and the process. The whole purpose of system and process is replication, multiplication. 2 days back, again, one entrepreneur was telling, is delegation important? I said, if you don't have goals and don't have aspirations, delegation is not important. But if you have goals and you want to multiply and become a multimillionaire, you need to delegate. And for delegation, you need systems and process. So why we need to have system and process? An individual person can do the way he wants to do, but if you really want to build a business, build an organization, you need the system and process. And what is it? How can we do it? Simple. Whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur, if it's a solo entrepreneur, start writing whatever you're doing. Documentation is what we're talking about. Such as an architect, very first project, what did you do? How did you do? It's a residential project, what did you do? How did you do it? Step by step. Step 1, step 2, starting from picking up the phone and telling that hello. We can train people even in telling that hello. How many of you get calls from telecallers? They are trained really well trained. And that is when this is important, that everything can be trained and everybody can be trained if you have a system and process. And to get the system and process, one small request, keep documenting. And ask all your team members. Today, it can be replicated if you can ask all your team members to start writing down what they are doing. And then you start writing down what you think this person should be doing. Now, the gap in between is called systematic error management. Errors will happen. Errors will crop up. New things will come up. Life is dynamic. Technology is dynamic. Now, what can be done? Whenever something is coming new, dynamic, that is called systematic error management. Something will come up and say, hey, there's something going wrong here. Why not? Look into it. Check it out. And see that you can do something called systematic error management. If there's no error, systematically review the management. You're managing the whole system and the process. What is management? It is systems and process, are they really running well as per what you want to achieve? The purpose of system and process is to help you achieve the goals you have set for the organization. Make sense? Yes. Thank you. So the simplest way of setting the system and process, you start writing, start documenting, and ask everybody to start documenting. Like how recently we did it in our operations. I said, each of you just sit down and write down whatever you're doing on a daily basis. Just write it. From morning when you come to evening when you leave, whatever you're doing, please write it down and give it to me in a sheet of paper. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is it the same things that you're doing on a daily basis? If same things are happening, it can be put in a process. Exceptional situations cannot be put in the process. Fine. But exceptions will always come. But 70% can be systematized. If you can systematize 70% of your operations, delegation is possible, growth is possible. Okay? I believe this particular session, you must have learned something new. You will have got some points which you can implement in your business and your life. And yes, please share your comments to the video. You can help people. You can help people by sharing this video so that they can also learn something and grow from this. This is Growgraphy, the digital growth platform for entrepreneurs and working professionals. I am Sunil Setia, looking forward to seeing you in one more exciting, interesting business topic in the next episode.